All right, guys. Hey, thank you for coming to our program today. I'm not going to stand up here for too long, but if you guys don't know me, I'm the new owner of the Hillsboro Free Press. I bought Joel out recently. We're doing this program because we felt like it was important to get people prepared for the incoming big box store that's coming to Hillsboro. Roger's going to have some excellent information in regards to that, and then we've got Marcy Penner and we've got Tim Smith after that. If you guys will just give a nice round of applause to Roger Holter.
Thank you very much. Okay, I got to start off. Anybody tell me what that is?
Zebulon.
Zebulon. Stuck? That's pretty much my career in retail, okay? I spent 40 plus years slogging through the retail world. But one thing I did learn, it's all about partnerships to make things work. And that's what we're talking about here today. So remember that with a little help, anything in life is truly possible. And with that, I really want to show our appreciation to Joey and the Free Press, Teresa Huffman, Clint Seibel, Terry Jones, and the Marion County Economic Development, and Tabor College for allowing us to come here today. So please, when you see them, thank them for this. This is quite an investment. What I want to talk about today, I mean, there's no rocket scientist, but I want to talk about prepared, because that's really what we've got to do. Along that line, I'm not going to tell you anything new, and I'm even going to go to a 300-year-old quote. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So, big box can be intimidating, all of this type stuff. They've got a lot of swagger. They want to talk about it. Okay, I'm a reforming big box. Okay? So, with that, I want to take just a minute. Let's talk about big box, because, you know, we know what's coming here now. But, anybody heard about Target Express? Target Express is trying to one-up Walmart already. They've launched 2 stores, and what it is they have a pharmacy in there, they do not have gasoline, and they have groceries. But in addition to that, they're bringing health, beauty aids into it, and they're bringing electronics. 2 of the stores that they've launched are in college towns, so they've brought in all of the licensed apparel to go along with it. Sears, this is one of the companies I used to work with. And when I worked with them, they were doing a small market test and all this, and they started the dealer stores. 192 dealer stores. You know, there's some around here, right? This year, the number of small community stores that Sears has exceeds their full-line stores. 792, they're down to 751 on full line. So, Shopko, anybody familiar with them? Another big box. There's one in Lyons, okay? Hometown. They are eyeing the Alcom properties as a possibility for acquisition because it gives them the introduction into a little bit further in the Midwest. Home Depot, okay? Large home improvement company, all of that. Anybody know how big they make their stores normally? 120,000 square feet. The next round of stores that they're opening are between 25 and 38,000 square feet. They're targeting specific and going to smaller communities. Lowe's companies, had the privilege of working with them as well. Another one, they went out and bought an entire company called Orchard Hardware. They're 25,000 square foot stores. They're using that to develop their prototypical to come into communities of 2,500 and above. Right now targeted about 15,000. And then we're all familiar with Walmart and the neighborhood market, which is what's coming to Marion County. So let's, why now, why here? Same reason you're here, a little concerned, okay? It's survival of big box, and I want to share with you a little bit about that, okay? Retail right now is in the middle of its 5th evolutionary process. Retail started out general stores, then it went to mail order, okay? Sears, Roebuck, JCPenney's Montgomery Ward, okay? Big thing. Then we went into the mall-based stores. Anybody been in the malls lately? Okay? How they doing?
Not so good.
Not so good. You know, I had lived in the Hutchinson market for a while, and they referred to it as the small. Well, I went back to visit, and they have one anchor store left in that entire complex now. From the mall, it evolved into big box because everybody said, well, the mall is too tough, can't get in there, shop, all of this. So that's where we had this phenomenon of the Walmart taking off, all of the Lowe's, Home Depot, so forth. Then it transitioned into e-commerce. This year, Amazon will have more home improvement sales than Home Depot or the Lowe's Corporation. Anybody seen an Amazon showroom? No. Okay? So it continues to evolve. So they're really nailed down. They've got to figure out what's the next best thing. To that point, Wall Street and the investor community, it's driving stock values. Don't know how many meetings I sat through that it talked about return on investment and what's the comp store sales. Okay? What are we doing to grow it? So the small markets are the most attractive place for big box to target. There's less operating expenses, and it's tied mostly to the reduced labor costs. If I go in and set up a store in St. Louis, I pay double the labor costs to get that store off the ground. Impacts are less from strength. I opened a store for the Sears Corporation that coming out of the box, we had 5% shrink in that town. 5%. Any of you in retail here, if you're much over 0.5%, it's getting really nervous, okay? So that's a factor that comes into. Land and property acquisitions are far more reasonable in the smaller markets. So the largest single item, why they're coming here? You all have made Marion County a great retail market. That's why they put their eyes here. But does this mean that that's, you know what? Can they be stopped? Absolutely. I want to talk about acrostic, prepare. The first one, probably the best tool you've got, is provide exceptional customer service. That's going to define how we counter a big box coming in. The next one, retain your engaged workforce. Now there's a key word there. I said engaged. Some people take this the wrong way, but it's a fact of life. There may be someone on your staff that you may be better off to promote to the big box, okay? Because then they'll be your best ally as you move ahead. Educate and empower your associates. We'll talk about it just a little more as we get into it, but big box bases everything on consistency. It's got to be the same, got to be the same, got to be the same, okay? This is where you empower your associates to make a decision, then you're going to kill the big box coming in here because you won't be hearing, manager to the front, please, because your people are going to be taken care of. Okay? Pursue customers with aggression and determination. In the little handout you've got, talk a little bit about the 80-20 rule. And retail, 20% of your customers produce 80% of your annual revenues. Those are the ones that you need to cement the relationships right now before the competition ends. Advertise in a timely and effective manner. Yes, it's being sponsored by a media company, this event. But I'm going to tell you, the normal reaction when big box would go into a market is so many of the locals would just stop advertising. They felt overwhelmed. That's the biggest mistake you can make. Stay consistent to what's got you to where you're at today. That's how you'll continue to move forward. Research the competition. This is critical. I had the privilege of opening up the Minneapolis-St. Paul market for Lowe's. I was deployed up there a year before we built our first store. And all I was supposed to do was go find out how the competition played. So, get to know, go visit a neighborhood market store. Understand what's coming here, what their business model is. Prepare yourself. And then the last one's evaluate the product selection and presentation. You really do have to step back, look at what you're doing with a fresh set of eyes. Let's talk about what Big Box believes wholeheartedly so you understand what you're up against. Hands down, they believe that their buying power is what will crush any local. They believe that their promotional efforts are far better than anything you can put together. And their hours of operation, hands down, got you beat. Well, that's all fine, but what does that really mean? On the buying power, you know what, there is an advantage. They got a vast network. You can get just about anything you want. And you get some terrific pricing from them. But the disadvantage, lead times are extended. Where you can have a relationship with a local supplier and get products in 7 to 10 days, some of the contracts I would sign were net 90. It was 90 days before I could get the goods into the stores that we needed them into. There is increased cost from warehousing and logistics. I could get a great buy from Michelin Tire Company. I bought 3 train car loads full of tires. I ended up spending as much money putting them in the warehouses as I did off of the margins I made from them. Okay? Overbill accounts. Vendor networks, when they send into Big Box, they'll have some people come in, help them set up, they'll help them do all of this type stuff. You know what? Nothing's free in life. There's an overbill account, so while you may buy the widget for $2, there's another 25 cents that's added on that raw cost because you're paying for that. And then at best, national companies, regional merchandise, okay? They can break it out and say, okay, these will sell in this market. This is your advantage because you develop that local vendor network for your commodity items. Leverage the strength of homegrown, grown in the county, whatever you want to do, okay? Move to a quicker inventory turn and reduce your inventory expenses, okay? I mean, there's a couple bankers here in the room and they're very gracious. They lend us all kinds of money, but they do want a return on it. So the more you can lower the inventory, the less interest you're going to be paying on that. Leverage the vendor organization and co-op advertising. There is a lot of products that you sell in your stores today that there is national advertising available. You just have to ask for it. They'll tagline you on their national media, but again, you got to put yourself into that mix. And then the vendor organization, never be bashful about asking them to come in and help with training. Could be help with setting the displays. Just ask for it. They're really looking, how can they support you even with the incursion of a big box coming to the market? Because at the end of the day, as a supplier, do I care if it's sold from the big box or the mom and pop operation? Absolutely not. So leverage those things. The promotional efforts, you know, they've got large advertising budgets, a lot of electronic media. That's how they go after it, okay? The disadvantages to it, they cannot support local events. I'm going to share with you the state fair, okay? You would think national companies understand there's 50 state fairs. The trouble is, they don't give the flexibility in the model to do any specials. When I ran a store, I got killed every time a state fair, a Chingawassa event, even the county fairs, because I couldn't react quickly enough. The local merchants knew the market, knew what they needed, and got it there. That's the way that you can leverage as you move forward. Ad purchases from Big Box, it takes 30 to 60 days lead time. And then if you don't get the merchandise there in time, you're faced with the decision, do you pull the entire ad or do you run it and upset customers? Now, I don't know if this ever happened to any of you, but have you ever gone to a Big Box and you saw it in the ad and you go to the store? It's not there, okay? Or they tell you, I love this line, well, the computer says I have 6 of them. Okay, some of you have heard that one, all right. And the margin decisions from big box drives the whole marketing program. Remember that. You know what sells, what you can get a quicker turn at. You know, if I have a 40% margin on an item that sits there for a year, doesn't make me anything. If I can take that same item, sell it 5 times at a 30 margin, what have I done for my bottom line? And that's money that I'm taking away from the big box. So, the price promotions, you know, the one that's coming here, they still have the value message, but they took it off the front of their buildings. It says low prices, all okay, for a reason. It was perception. The reality doesn't hold true to that. So, remember, value will trump the price on all of your promotions as you're planning it moving forward. Service advantage are more valuable in this equation. Free delivery, free setup, all of this. Let's just talk about the one that's coming here. How many people do you think they're going to buy to or hire to bag your goods? None. Who's going to carry them out to your car? None. My mother-in-law's in the nursing home. I need to get some stuff delivered to him. I'm sure I can call him up and they'll run it right over, right? Okay. And it's time to start telling about your community involvement story. You know, I told you I'm reforming big box. But big box, I'd go in and I'd make a grandiose statement. I'd go in and say, okay, we'll rehab this park. We'll get the media out there, they do all of it, and then they give us all this credit. But yet I look, since I've had the privilege of retiring and moving to this great community, how many times are you supporting the small events that go on in town? And are you getting that message out there? Okay? You really, yes, you've got to be humble. Understand that. But now's the time to fairly and accurately make sure everyone knows how you support your community. Your businesses is what made quality of life as great as it is in Marion County. Okay? The hours of operation, you know what? Big box, it touts it. Okay? 108 hours of operation is what I dealt with. So, I would venture that's more hours than most of you here. That's why I retired. Okay? The disadvantages to that, they have increased labor costs and utility costs that are connected with that. The brand standards are a big risk factor for them during the transitional shifts. From our opening shift, moving to the evening shift, that was always where we experienced the worst customer service, the greatest inventory losses, all of those issues occurred there. And then quite honestly, it's poor employee morale resulting in disengagement. Big box, they'll talk about benefits, they talk about family values, that's all it is, just talk. Okay? The way that big box keeps their managers is ridiculously large incentives, anywhere from 30 to 75% of base salary. They're trying to buy loyalty from their leadership. So the winning ways, it's critical that you analyze your business from the customer's eyes. I don't know if you've done this. I used to call it the ball cap routine. Whenever I go to a new store, and just to give you an idea, I directly supervised or managed 19 different locations throughout the country. I would put on blue jeans ball cap, and I'd go in there a week before the store I was going to report to. That's where you're going to get the true perspective of what your customers experience each and every day. Then you know. There's going to, you're going to see people that you need to praise for what they've done, and then there's going to be others that you need to go, okay, I need to help them understand this is how we do it. Be willing to shift your hours. Now, I'm not saying, you don't want to get into that whole game of extended hours all the time. But look at your business realistically. Could you drive as many purchasing customers if your hours of operation were 10 to 7 instead of 8 to 5? And then I'm going to challenge you on this one. Depending on your business, can we create a kids economy in our community? By that, you're going to create opportunities for high schoolers, college students, to have an evening job. It extends your hours of operations. From that, you're also going to create brand loyalty. You know what? Wherever my grandkids work, I'm going to go spend money there. Even if I don't need to, that's where I'm going to go spend money. And then succession planning for your own business. So many times in our operations, that transition to the next generation is very difficult. In our county, we've lost several businesses during that transition time. It's great to see several of the recent ones, the Free Press transition, the Marion Health Mart transition. Those are tremendous because it was planned out, a succession put in place as we move ahead. Okay, let's talk about what really keeps big box awake at night in the small markets. And they are customer service and the local market intelligence. Customer service, Tim's going to spend a lot of time talking to you about that, and I'm going to show you a little clip here, but the local market intelligence, that's what will absolutely bring the national retailers to their knees in your market, because they don't understand what sells here. They've got one size fits all. From a customer service standpoint, remember that big box, they all offer the same products from the same vendors at the same price, because they all guarantee they'll match prices, and in the same business model, which is pretty much do it yourself, okay? They're not looking to give you great service. So while their model works in a growing marketplace, it's a huge liability to them when they're in a mature market or a declining market. The market intelligence that I'm talking about, they're anchored in, they have to answer to the shareholder. And that is consistency. They got to be able to come up with a business model that I can roll out in 100 stores or I can roll out in 1,000 stores. And that means everybody coming through there, it's going to be one size. That's not what made your business is. That's not what will continue your success as we move forward. It's knowing people by their first name, helping them understand you're there to help. Okay? I don't know if anybody's heard about Johnny the Bagger, but I'd like you to take a few minutes and see how one person can truly make a difference.
A few years ago, I was hired by a large supermarket chain to lead a customer service program to build customer loyalty. During my speech, I said, every one of you can make a difference and create memories for your customers that will motivate them to come back. How? Put your personal signature on the job. Think about something you can do for your customer to make them feel special, a memory that will make them come back. About a month after I had spoken, I received a call from a 19-year-old bagger named Johnny. He proudly informed me he was a Down syndrome individual and told me his story.
I liked what you talked about,
He said,
but at first I didn't think I could do anything special for our customers. After all, I'm just a bagger. Then I had an idea.
Johnny said.
Every night after work, I'd come home and find a thought for the day. If I can't find a saying I like,
He added.
I just think one up.
When Johnny had a good thought for the day, his dad helped him set it up on the computer and print multiple copies. Johnny cut out each quote and spelled his name on the back. Then he'd bring them to work the next day.
when I finish bagging someone's groceries, I put my thought for the day in their bag and say, thanks for shopping with us.
It touched me to think that this young man, with a job most people would say is not important, had made it important by creating precious memories for all his customers. A month later, the store manager called me.
You won't believe what happened. When I was making my rounds today, I found Johnny's checkout line was 3 times longer than anyone else's. It went all the way down the frozen food aisle. So I quickly announced, we need more cashiers, get more lanes open, as I tried to get people to change lanes. But no one would move. They said,
No, it's okay. We want to be in Johnny's lane.
We want his thought for the day.
The store manager continued.
it was a joy to watch Johnny delight the customers. I got a lump in my throat when one woman said,
I used to shop in your store once a week, but now I come in every time I go by because I want to get Johnny's thought for the day.
A few months later, the manager called me again.
Johnny has transformed our store. Now when the floral department has a broken flower or unused corsage, they find an elderly woman or a little girl and pin it on them. Everyone's having a lot of fun creating memories. Our customers are talking about us. They're coming back and bringing their friends. A wonderful spirit of service spread throughout the entire store. And all because Johnny chose to make a difference.
Johnny's idea wasn't nearly as innovative as it was loving. It came from his heart. It was real. That's what touched his customers, his peers, and those who read this story. Great service comes from the heart. Will you be a Johnny today?
Okay, I want you to shout it out. You've got Johnny's. You've done this in Marion County for years. You created a quality of life that's absolutely amazing. I mentioned how many different cities I've been in, okay? I've lived in population centers with 6.5 million people. You know what? Marion County is our home for life. We're not going anywhere else, and it's because of what you've already created. And that's what we're here to sustain. So let's share some of the things. Give me a great example of customer service in your business, or something that you do that the big box doesn't stand a prayer against. Okay, Roger, I'm going to pick on you. You got a few Reynolds around, right? Well, I'll tell you what, I was up against the wall, moved in, went from a rather large house to a much smaller home on the lake. Then an absolute panic. I needed to find some place to put stuff. Roger and his lovely bride came out to our home, allowed us to sign the contract there, took the check. No, that doesn't happen in a big world, big box world. So I thank you for that superior service. It just makes us smile on everything that happens. Come on, somebody else. Give me something that you know in your business.
We eliminate frustration.
Okay? That's a huge thing, isn't it?
Well, I work at Supreme Floor, and so we offer very personalized design consultations and services, and especially for people who come in and they're building a brand new house, they don't know where to start. They don't look at flooring and countertops and tile every day, and so I work with them a lot on a very personal basis. We go out to their current home and see what that's like, and help them if they would like it that way.
Terrific. Terrific. Who else? Come on.
I make deliveries.
You make deliveries. That is huge for who's coming to town, because that ain't going to happen.
If I had a customer over in Marion, I was done with her project, so I happened to have a meeting over there. So I said, hey, can I bring it with me and drop it by? And she said, that would be awesome. So I do little things.
That is tremendous. So I guess my challenge to everyone here, and I promise I'm wrapping up, think about your business. Think about those extra things. I'm going to share one, and this is about Carlson's Grocery in Marion. When I lived in Minneapolis, St. Paul, my mother-in-law, we had her living at the lake house, okay, and then we moved her into the September 1. From Minneapolis, St. Paul, the director of September 1 called us and said, you know, your mother's not eating, we don't, okay, so we call her and find out what's going on. Well, it's just too hard. Called over, got a hold of Linda Carlson. Linda goes, sure, no problem, I'll go see her tonight. Linda went over there, figured out what my mother-in-law liked to eat, delivered it, sent me a bill, didn't even have me give her a credit card over the phone, sent me a bill to reimburse her. That, do you think big box will ever be able to compete with that kind of service? You know what? It's making those memories. That's the key to any big box incursion that comes in. So with that, thank you. I appreciate your time, your respect, and consideration of these thoughts. And may God bless each of you in your endeavors as you move forward. Thank you.
If anybody has any questions for Roger, he will be available. He'll be here for the duration of the program. So if you want to catch him during a break, feel free. He's more than open with his knowledge. You guys can't buy that kind of knowledge and insight from Big Box. So again, just thank Roger, and here in just a few minutes we will have Marcy Penner come up and speak next.